Mr. Emilio Bautista, your grade 9 science teacher. Last week, we discussed the different properties of ionic and covalent compounds. In today's video lesson, we're going to study how ionic bonding takes place. So stay tuned, guys!
What are ions? Ions are simply charged atoms. They are neither positive nor negative. How are ions formed? Ions are formed when an atoms gain or lose an electrons. In this example, sodium loses an electrons while the chlorine atoms gains an electrons. Metal tend to lose electrons. Metal has a low electronegativity. Electronegativity is the ability of the atom to attract electrons. When sodium loses electrons, it will form a positively charged ion. Positively charged ion is called cations. Non-metals tend to gain electrons. Non-metal has a higher electronegativity, meaning it can attract more electrons. Chlorine gains electrons from the sodium atom and form a negatively charged ion. A negatively charged ion is called anions. Take note, class, that the number of electrons an atom gain or lose is its valence. It is important that you know how to get the number of valence electrons or the electrons in the outermost shell. Do not worry, we can simply determine the number of valence electrons in an atom by simply looking at the group number in the periodic table of elements as you can see in your screen. Take note, class. Chemical reaction occur when an atom tries to obtain a full outer orbit with 8 valence electrons like the noble gases. An atom with 8 electrons in its outer orbit is very stable. This ruling in a chemical bonding is called the octet rule. How do we assign names for an ion? Unlike a cation, which is named for the parent atom, an anion is named by taking the root name of the atom and changing the ending. For example, chlorine, we copy the root name of chlorine and we remove the INE and change it to IDE. Thus, it will now be called chloride. Ions charges and the periodic table. We find our periodic table very useful if we want to know what kind of ions are formed in a given atom. As shown in your screen, note that the group 1 metals form 1 positive ions and the group 2 metals form 2 positive ions. On the other hand, those on the right side form negative ions by gaining an electrons. How do we write chemical formulas with ion? Whenever a compound combines with a metal and non-metal, it can be expected to contain ions. We call this substance as ionic compound. For example, the sodium ion is written in this way, and the chlorine ion are written in this manner. Combining sodium ion and chlorine ion will lead to the formation of sodium chloride. The total net charge of a sodium ion is positive 1, while the chlorine ion has a net charge of negative 1. Combining these two charges will lead to a net charge of 0. Take note, class, that a chemical compound must have a net charge of 0 in order to form an ionic compound.
I hope you understand how ionic bonding takes place in this video lesson. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos in science. Thank you for watching. See you next meeting.